Welcome back to Radio Taiwan International. You're listening to Geek Out. What's your cup of tea? Tickles your fancy or floats your boat? Join us as we share passions from people in Taiwan and around the world. I am your host, your guest host again, Sharon Lin, because today we are geeking out with our very own Michelle Chiang.
We flipped it around today, you guys.
So, what are we geeking out about today, Michelle?
Okay, so we needed to do this flip side episode because I just got back from a liveaboard in Thailand.
Woohoo!
And I've kind of found that most people don't know what this is.
Yeah, so what is this? Tell us.
So I've recently, as you guys have heard, been certified for diving.
Yay.
It's actually been a really, it's been a journey of getting back to physical fitness enough to do something like scuba diving. Scuba diving is not it's not like I'm, cycling up mountains or something. It's not that physically draining, but it does require some heavy lifting because you have a lot of equipment and you have to be able to walk it into the water.
Yeah.
Once you're in the water, you're pretty okay as far as weight goes because it becomes weightless. But you do have to swim sometimes against the current. So it's like cardio, right?
Yeah. So congratulations on getting certified.
Yeah,
It's a big deal. Yeah, I know you work very hard. So I know, you just came back from Thailand. Tell us, where in Thailand did you go and what's the lodging situation like?
Right. So I did, because I didn't want to take terribly too much time away. And of course, the longer you stay out, the more money you spend, right? Yeah. So I went down literally for the 5 days that the liveaboard is scheduled to run. So I flew from Taipei through Bangkok into Phuket. And I got picked up by the van and taken straight to the boat. We literally went from plane to boat.
You live on a boat.
A liveaboard it's in the name. You live aboard a boat.
And in case you don't know.
in case that wasn't real clear for you. But you pay more or less the fee for the tour, which includes your room and board. You have a cabin on the boat.
Okay.
And it includes all of your meals, snacks, drinks, no alcohol. They don't encourage you to drink while you're diving. It's bad. And yeah, I think you, otherwise, if you need to rent equipment, you pay extra.
Okay.
Park fees and tips, of course, are extra. But yeah, you live on a boat. And liveaboard culture can be really budget friendly. The one that I went on is actually...
I wanted to ask around how much or how friendly when it comes to price this trip was.
Oh, this one was super budget because I had a budget. My husband was like, you know what? You're so itchy to go scuba diving. Just go. I'll give you a budget of like 1,000, 1,500. Just go. Get it out of your system before the season's over, right? Yeah. So that's what I spent. I spent 1,500 on airfare and the liveaboard.
Okay.
And I got advanced certified.
You're talking about USD.
US dollars. Okay. So the it's a really budget. This was really budget friendly. It comes out.
That's good.
It's really good.
Yeah.
The boat tour itself is a little over $100 a day.
Okay.
And if you count how expensive it is to just dive in, say, Taiwan, to go on a boat dive, 2 dives is like 3,500 NT. It's over $100 alone. That's not covering any place to stay, no food, no transportation, nothing, right? So it's a really good deal considering it was also super, super duper full service.
Yeah.
Basically, here, let me outline.
Yes.
Like the
please
daily.
do. Yeah. And how many days in total?
It was a 5-day, 4-night tour.
Okay.
And what happens in the morning, really, really early, like at 6:30 in the morning. It's very early for me. So people come running around the decks outside the cabins, ringing a bell, and they pound on your door and ring the bell, and they run around and they wake everybody up. And what you do is you have a few minutes, obviously, to go brush your teeth and, use the restroom. And then you go into the galley area. Well, they will give you a dive briefing about the location and what we might see, that kind of stuff.
Important.
While you pound as much coffee as you can. And then you go downstairs to the dive deck, you put your stuff on and you jump in. And then when you're, a dive, for those who don't know, depends on your air consumption, how long it takes. But roundabouts is somewhere between 50 minutes, let's say. So you surface, you take your stuff off, you go upstairs. Breakfast is served.
Wow, cool. You start the morning with a dive.
Yeah, and then you eat your breakfast, you sit around, talk to people, share photos, or identify creatures that you saw. And then they ring the bell again in case people are not in the galley area. You go through another dive briefing, and then you go back downstairs to the dive
Okay.
deck and you dive again.
So this is your second dive of the day.
Second dive of the day. When you're finished with that dive, you climb back out. Lunch is served.
Okay.
So I think you're
It's
starting
always
to...
nice when some people prepare your food. I mean, I
Right?
love that.
Man, the food also on this boat was really delicious. We had like this ama in the kitchen. It's a small
Okay,
kitchen,
professional.
but she was performing some kind of magic.
Oh, yeah.
And it was very like down home local Thai food,
Oh, wow.
not cutting back on spice, which I appreciate.
Yeah, we
love-
want authentic
love
as
that.
possible. Yeah. Yeah, I saw some photos you shared. Yeah.
So good. It wasn't like super expensive fancy food.
No, but local and
Yeah,
fresh.
it's local and fresh. And that's what I signed up for. I don't need fancy. So yeah, you go and then
Okay.
lunchtime and then you sit around, maybe have a nap or a sun, and then ding, 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 it's time for another briefing, another dive. Wow. You come out again, snacks. They lay out like some kind of baked goods and fruit, things to kind of carb up again. You need more energy.
Yes, you do.
And then ding, 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 another dive. You come out again, dinner is served.
Okay.
So it's literally...
Basically, when the sun is still up, you go diving.
Yeah, well, not entirely just the sun is up. Like there is
you-
at the
you
end
do
of the
evening
day,
dives?
evening dives. So sunset and or night dives,
Okay.
which are an entirely
That is
different
advanced.
beast.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily.
Really?
You can do night dives without having any kind of specialty in it, as long as you're with a dive master.
Yeah, you have to.
And you are.
Not for beginners, listeners. If you've never done this, no, don't do this.
You do need to know some special, procedures for night diving, and everybody obviously has to have a light. What they say is you should be carrying 3 in case your primary fails. Then you have a backup.
Backup.
And then if the backup fails,
Backup of the backup.
you have a backup for a backup. And then it's almost infinitely tiny chance that your backup of a backup will fail, right? So if you have 3 lights, you feel fine.
And from what I learned from our mutual friend now, Aziz, who's a marine
Yes.
biologist, always have a dive buddy. Yeah.
Always.
Always,
It's
yeah.
kind of like hiking any
Yeah, you
sport.
don't do this alone. Yeah.
Where you're going someplace where there's not many people, remote locations,
Yeah.
you always want to bring somebody with you.
Safety always comes 1st. Okay. Now, I know you're going to give us a very beautiful description. Okay, but tell us what you saw underwater.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I'm an aquarium nerd.
Yes, I know.
So-
Don't hold back. Give us all the terms and
Yeah,
everything.
Okay. So I'm an aquarium nerd. So before I ever, stuck my face in the ocean properly,
Okay, what is it, Robert?
because when you splash around at the beach, you're just
Yeah, that
splashing
doesn't count.
around.
That
It doesn't count. It
yeah.
doesn't count because
Yeah.
you're not really looking at the life. Not that closely.
Okay, but
So-
for you, what did you see? Tell us.
Right. So from knowing aquarium animals, working in the aquarium industry I was in there for a decade or more, and seeing beautiful creatures come from far off locations, both coral and fish and inverts and stuff, going to a healthy reef in any location is really a treat. Specifically Thailand. I went to an area called the Similan Islands, and then we cruised up north to Richelieu Rock. And looking at the health of the reef in this location, the number of these are protected national parks.
Oh, okay.
So you can't fish. The Coast Guard, National Park Rangers, those guys were actually very frequently making rounds and making sure nobody was up to any shenanigans.
Good.
So I appreciate that.
Yeah. So it's a very healthy.
It's literally like Finding Nemo. That opening scene where you're like going through the reef and all the coral is so colorful and abundant and there's so many fish, except you take the Finding Nemo number of fish and you increase it to the point where there's so many fish you can't see the fish. Like the fish get in the way of seeing other things.
By the way, listeners, in case you don't know, I interviewed Dr. Aziz Jaimula. He ranked like Finding Nemo is a great representation of underwater life because they worked with a real marine biologist.
They did.
They did a very good job. So wow, just that scene.
Yeah, the
Okay.
representation of an extremely ideal, because it's a cartoon,
Yeah.
so it's an ideal reef.
Yeah.
It was literally what I was looking at.
Yeah.
As far as fish species goes, there was everything.
Yeah. What are some like species that you were totally geeking out underwater
I
that
mean,
you saw?
the big stuff is what usually impresses most people because it's big, it's cool. So you see a lot of trevally, you see a lot of emperors that are these big big fish that also school, so they are impressive and a kind of intimidating because they're already so big, but there's a bunch of them.
Wow.
And they're swimming together, and they're feeding on small silversides and things, glassfish, that are their natural prey. And what glassfish and silversides do is they hide in the coral, so you can see these clouds of, they're like tiny minnows, right? Dashing in and out of the reef with these big dudes chasing them. And if you're in the right place at the right time, you're in the ball of minnows. Like they're surrounding you. You're encapsulated in a swarm of fish. And or you're right there when all of the big trevally like shoot by you. And they're very good swimmers. They don't hit people.
Yeah, they don't.
They don't.
But you feel the flow of the water.
You feel
as
their
they pass
force,
by.
their strength in their numbers. It's truly amazing.
Wow.
Like underwater, you can't really speak because you have something in your mouth.
And you literally can. Yeah, you cannot. Yeah. Don't try.
Don't try it. It's not a great idea. But I would probably be swearing a lot. Just exclamations of wonder.
Oh, I know. Because like I love wildlife documentaries since I was a kid. That's just like the live version. It's live in front of you. You feel
You're
it.
in it.
Yes.
It's not just watching a 4K huge TV screen.
No, you're in it.
You're in it. So it's a whole nother level of awesome. So there's big stuff like that, and it goes all the way down to if you're one of those people who loves tiny life, cute stuff, right?
Yeah.
There's obviously lots of anemones, colonies of anemones with clownfish in them, many different species. There are cool things like mantis shrimp. I'm not sure if you heard of those.
I know those two things separately.
Yeah. Mantis shrimp and their little burrows and their little eyeballs looking at you.
Okay.
And stuff like shrimp gobies, pistol shrimp. There are like nudibranches, sea slugs that are ridiculously alien colored.
Like what kinds? What kind of?
Nudibranches. I am actually not a great taxonomist with those because they're not great for captivity. You should not buy them ever to keep in an aquarium because their diet is extremely specialized. So there are nudibranches that, for example, will feed on only the slime coating of this specific coral. Now, in an aquarium, you can't possibly keep enough of that coral unless you have 400 gallons to feed your nudibranches. So please don't buy them.
What color are they?
They're like pink with green spots, or there's like black ones with neon purple, polka dots, and then lime green edging. They're insane. I'll show you some pictures later.
Yeah.
But a lot of the microfauna is what gets lost when people go diving. They don't look super closely at the rock. And there's also animals that are really good at camouflage.
Oh, tell us.
Right? Like octopi or octopuses,
yeah.
whichever one. They're both correct, I hear.
Yeah, we're not here to debate. Okay.
But their ability to change the texture
they're
of their
very
skin,
smart. Yeah.
super smart. Of all the animals, yeah, sorry.
No. I'm just going to ask another question. Okay. Were there any animals that you saw that you felt a little bit like, oh, this could be dangerous? Or no?
Well, I'm not really afraid of most creatures underwater. The only ones that I'm slightly worried about, and this goes for all divers, should be cautious about, are octopuses.
Oh.
Because sometimes, if you approach them too closely, they have the ability to pull your stuff off your face.
Oh, yeah.
So you need that to live.
Yeah. That way. Yeah.
It's pretty important. So usually, well, not usually, all the time, keep your distance from almost all animals on the reef. Don't touch.
Yeah. I was about to ask you this.
Don't touch them. Yeah.
So like a rule of thumb, don't try to touch anything.
Nothing.
Yeah.
It's never a good idea. Divers only leave bubbles.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
That's beautifully said. Yeah.
That is the mentality that you should have. If you're diving, you go down there and you take in the beauty of everything that you see, and then all you leave is bubbles.
You know, probably some listeners might be curious. Okay, did you encounter any sharks?
Oh yeah, we definitely saw. There were more than one group of people on this boat. Some people saw white-tip reef sharks, but I got to see guitar sharks, which are pretty cool.
Oh.
Guitar sharks, Google it, you guys.
Yeah.
They're funny-looking sharks.
Guitar.
They're shellfish eaters.
Those are like very like kind of
flat in the front
and mild and docile.
The majority of sharks do not bother people. Because when you dive, hopefully you dive in clear water and they can see you and you are obviously not food.
Yeah.
The only time that
they're so misunderstood.
They're so misunderstood. They're one of the only apex predators that you can visit in their home environment and they will not attack you. even defensively, because you're so weird looking.
Yeah, you're like, what is this?
We were just so weird looking that they would rather run away, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if you go visit, say, lions or something, and you cannot walk, you yourself alone in the Serengeti without fear of being taken down by a pride of lions or something.
Wow.
They say to stay in the car. Do not make yourself separate from the car.
So yeah, coming back to this, because like there are so many exciting moments, I'm sure. Because when you mentioned like maybe like dangerous species to look out for, I thought you were gonna say jellyfishes.
There weren't any.
Okay.
Or there were, but very minor, very mild stinging or non-stinging jellyfish, like comb jellies. They're just cool looking, but they don't really hurt people.
Okay, what about the preparation process? I know that there was something that your diving gear, they didn't arrive properly or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a long story, but let me shrink it down.
Yeah.
So I bought a BCD, which is a buoyancy compensation device. It's the vest that you wear to be able to float if you need to underwater. I bought it from Germany because I'm not sure why, but maybe the VAT is very high in Taiwan, but it would have been almost triple the price if I had bought it locally. So thankfully I have a relative in Germany and she helped me pick it up and send it over. It turned out that the shoulders were the wrong size.
No.
This is one of those things that you can customize to your size. So I bought it in small, but the shoulders were large. The rest of it was small, but wrong. So I contacted the company, and I at that point had 12 business days left before I would board a plane to go to Thailand. And this company, shout out Atlantis in Berlin, Germany. If you need diving supplies, they ship internationally for a very reasonable rate. They basically shipped out the small shoulders, and they said, we'll just do a small fee and we'll ship them out for you. And take your time sending the largest back. But the smalls, they're going to try that. They did it same day to try to get them to me in time. And they arrived in time. So I had my equipment for the trip. The liveaboard that I was on is also above and beyond customer service.
Yeah.
It was A1 diving, the SeaWorld 1 boat. And it was a fantastic experience.
Yeah, tell us a little bit more about the people that you met on board. Yeah.
Part of the worry that I had, female solo traveling is not that scary for me. But female solo liveaboarding, because you're kind of trapped.
Yeah, trapped with the same group of people. By the way, did you have a roommate or it was just you?
It worked out that I had my own room.
Amazing.
Yeah, this company, like I said, fantastic. They basically ensure any female solo divers will only be bunked with another female solo. If there is not another female solo, they will not make you, bunk with anybody else. So it worked out in my favor. I did not have a bunkie. And also, I wasn't trapped with any weirdos on the trip. Everybody was fantastic.
Nice.
Everybody had
Made
very
some good friends.
mutual interests. We all love diving, right? So we made
Sure,
friends.
yeah.
We had Singapore, France, Switzerland, local Thai, and myself. I was the only American, which is unusual for my experience.
No, I saw some photos and the water looks so beautiful.
It was gorgeous. That was very lucky.
Yeah.
We sailed with only 7 out of a maximum capacity of 18. So it was really, really excellent. Nobody was overloaded, not crowded.
Spacious, yeah.
And what they do is they take care of all your equipment. So at the beginning of the trip, they ask for your stuff. They set it up for you. They rinse it for you and dry it for you.
Wow.
So all you do is you dive. You go downstairs, put your stuff on.
You just have fun. You
and
just have fun. They take care of you.
You come back out of the water. You don't even have to climb out if you don't want to with the heavy stuff on. You take it off in the water. And then they pull it out of the water if you either can't do it or don't want to do that.
Wow, that sounds so dreamy. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tried to do some of my own cleaning because I feel bad.
Yeah. Wait, so how did you find this group?
I was looking at liveaboard.com.
Okay.
And
so you've been doing a lot of research
Yeah,
to find the perfect one that's fit
I
your need.
possibly do an unreasonable amount of research when it comes to anything.
Yeah.
But it's
That's good.
always
Yeah, I know
it's
you're
good to do that because you want to know everything.
To be better prepared. Yeah.
It's a inexpensive boat. It's budget trip, but it was very highly rated. And I have people in Thailand and I asked them to vet the company, make sure it's not some kind of human trafficking situation.
Yeah. Or any like not very eco-friendly.
Correct.
Or, yeah.
Yeah. And it came back all okay. So, it's up to you whether, listener, if you think it's a good thing or not. I tend to bypass the major listing company, liveaboard.com, and I go straight to the company to book.
Oh, why is that?
Well, usually most small businesses have to pay fees to, say, Amazon or
Oh,
Etsy.
to show up as
Exactly.
like a recommended.
Well, they use that platform for advertising, of course, which is why they pay their fees. But the fees are frequently a lot, and you benefit the small business by booking directly with them. And frequently, they'll give you a little bit of a price cut as a thank you.
What's the best thing about making this trip possible and being there and now you're back?
Okay. I love traveling, but so this place specifically has been rated top 10 diving locations in the world.
Oh, wow.
So it was very, very worth
It's a
it.
bucket list moment.
It's a bucket list moment. So I could not go when I was given the budget and the okay to go, right? And yeah, there's like dolphins swimming with the boat, and there's manta ray, and it's a dream situation.
Yeah.
But of course, at the end of the trip, I miss my bed. It's 4 or 5 guys a day. It's exhausting.
It's like you're tired of like having so much fun, but in a good way. But
yeah. It's, of course, you're exhausted in a good way, but exhausted. And it took me many days of recovery. Yeah, but I would not trade that experience for it's top 3
Would
life
you recommend?
adventures. Definitely recommend.
Okay.
If you are interested in liveaboards, if you are a certified diver, fantastic. You can search them out on liveaboard.com, possibly go to their regular small business site. If you're not a certified diver and you are interested, try a discover dive. Most dive shops offer a try dive.
Yeah, like the one that I went to in Green Island, they also have
It's just
what's
a
it?
one-time
Discover,
try dive, see if you like the hobby.
Yeah.
If you do, then great. If you don't, then that's okay.
It's fine, yeah.
And because it's a whole world down there, if you have the ability to travel to see cool places like the Similan Islands and Richelieu Rock, go do it. Because, here's the cynical side of me.
Sure.
It won't be there that long.
Okay, tell us a little bit why.
Climate change, human impact. Aziz also covered this in That's Debatable, I believe. The human impact on the environment, the ocean.
Huge. Yeah.
Is huge. And we are already seeing so much damage done, most obviously places like the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. Hopefully humankind will be able to turn that boat around.
I know. Because we want to stay optimistic, and also in a way that the way that you're recording this show, also for people to learn more about the ocean and to care for it, to care. It's very important.
Once you see what's under there,
you want to protect it.
Exactly. You want to protect it. And it does influence your own decisions, your everyday life decisions in order to further that protection, right? And educate other people.
Yes, please do so. Well, thank you so much for geeking out with me, Michelle.
Oh my God, thank you for doing this.
And thank you for whoever's listening, for tuning into Radio Taiwan International. I'm your guest host, Sharon Lin, and we will be back next Thursday with another episode of Geek Out with Michelle Chiang.
Yes, bye.
Bye.